Hey guys, I'm just going to run through a few admin things, and you can watch this and hopefully use this as a reference to help us to approve new members and approve posts, new OPs that are pending. So I'm logged in right now to the main page, Uplift Study Group, and you'll notice here that you have 5 posts needing approval, and I have 7 people that want to join this group. So if I want to approve a post, of course, you just click in here, and if it's someone that we've trusted normally and you see a lot of good stuff from, it's usually probably okay just to glance through and just approve it quickly. Like this from Richard Windmill's probably great to just approve right away. And so looks like it's okay, so I'll just go ahead and approve it. And so some of the other ones here you can see we have just a link and not much to go with it. But this is the Elder Corbridge speech, which is great. This talk was shared by me. So I'm looking for a couple things like poor grammar, misspellings, or just sloppy stuff that sometimes comes through, broken links or whatever. Anything like that that's obvious. If it's like overt preaching, where someone's trying, like we've talked about people in the past who have just posted stuff like a question that's a veiled attempt to preach a certain ideology, like a political ideology. That kind of stuff. We know about a person in the group that's always preaching a certain ideology through questions. That kind of thing needs to probably be questioned. So if needed, you can just hover over the person's name and just click on message the person to send them some tips about what needs to be changed for their post, their pending OP, original post. And to be able to make this a little quicker, we have what's called Google Drive that you can use for a lot of different resources as admins. So if you go into Google, your web browser, and you type in drive.google.com/drive/ and hit enter, it'll ask you to log in. And we have a Google Drive just for Uplift admins. And so I can send the username and password to you in the admin chat to log into this, but you log into this Google account, and it's called upliftstudygroup@gmail.com is up here. You can see in the top right is the username for this Google Drive, Google account. So you can log in as this Uplift Study Group admin, and I'll send you the password in the chat room. It's capital Y, WHY, the number 1, and then capital B, believe. Why I believe, but the I is a number 1 instead of an I. That's the password. So you log in here, and you can see there's a lot of good resources. So we're building this out to make it easy for us to be admins and to keep things organized. But you'll notice here I've got this Uplift scripts that I made that you can click on. And you can use these scripts to help in your the approval process. So on this page, I've got 3 scripts written out so far. We can add more to it as we need to if we need more scripts. But at the bottom, you have this pending original post OP needing revision script. So just really basic. Hello, thank you for submitting a new Uplift OP. Before we can approve, could you make the following adjustments for us? So all I would do is go like this, highlight it, Control C to copy it, and I'd go back to my page where I'm trying to approve this post, and I would highlight over this person's page, Odom's Facebook profile, and I'd click message to message her. And I would say just copy and paste right in here like this, and then I would of course need to adjust this right here before I send it to her. So I'd say Number 1, please fix the spelling. Make sure you don't hit enter. Just hitting enter right here, I think, might actually send the message. So if you want to do a new paragraph, you do hold down Control on your keyboard and then hit enter, the enter key, and it does a new line. So you can do a new line with holding down Control and then hit enter on your keyboard. And that will. And I think if you're on your phone, if you just hit the enter button, it won't send the message. You have to actually push the blue button to send it. But on a computer, you have to actually do Control enter. So anyway, that would be something you would send to this person, and then you just leave it here is pending, and you can message in our admin chat window, administration Uplift admins. You can message us here and say, hey, FYI, I've messaged Paige Odom for her new OP to ask for a revision, and that way people will see that, and we won't send her multiple messages. If we send someone multiple messages, that's probably okay, but it's something we can try to avoid by just checking this screen if you're going to start this chat room, to check to make sure we're not duplicating our effort and messaging people multiple times. Okay, so that's pending applications. Just use your best judgment, and we want to be as generous as possible. I think if we start to decline a lot of people or really nitpick on stuff, then we might have people that just get disinterested in the group and will go elsewhere. And we want to have a balance. If something's really bad or really provocative and it's going to cause contention, then of course we need to ask them to revise it or not to post it. And so just use your best judgment, and we'll all just do our best to help with this approval process. I think it's going to be a lot better to make sure stuff is high quality, and we can allow this queue to build up over time, and it will tell us, like here, it tells us that this one was submitted 18 minutes ago, so we're still okay on this one. It hasn't been too long. And I'm going to close that window, not actually send that to her. But you can sort here in the top pending posts, most recent or chronological. I think it's just most recent, it's fine. So at the very bottom, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, this one's been submitted, has been pending for 12 hours. And I sent Justin Weeks a message yesterday talking to him about this weird iframe that looks like it's not going to work well. It's a weird link, and some of the spelling's a little bit weird, kind of sloppy. So I just said, hey, can you clean this up a little bit? And I don't even know who Justin Weeks is. He's a new member. So he's trying to ask people to follow his podcast for Come Follow Me, which is great. But I also referred to him in my message to him. I referred him to other Uplift or other study groups that are specifically for Come Follow Me. So if he doesn't respond to my message, I'll probably just delete this, and then if he ends up messaging me back, after a couple of days he doesn't respond, and just delete it. Doesn't message me back, and he may say, hey, what happened to my post? And I'll, we can say, oh, sorry, we didn't hear back from you quickly enough. If you want to submit it, please go right ahead. And these are, those are the things we suggest you change on it. And but also, you can also go to the Come Follow Me study groups that are specifically for Come Follow Me to get more attention on this. And we don't want repeat people like maybe Ben Spackman is kind of an exception, or other church scholars. If they come into our group and are posting weekly or whatever on their blogs, or like Robert Boylan, if you were to post stuff, I would say that's probably okay because their stuff is high quality. It's interesting. Book of Mormon Central or other really good websites, church websites that people are participating in, or like, noteworthy members of the church that are doing great work. We usually are more relaxed with them and allow them to keep posting because, their stuff is really good. But if it's someone that's new, we don't really know who this person is, it's kind of sloppy, then we just kind of hold on to it until we don't hear back from them, then we just delete it. So that's the pending posts. So if you go back, if you want to get back out of this, you go back to the main group. And then I'm going to go to the 7 people want to join this group for the next admin thing. So I click here, and you'll just scan through, and you can see all these people that have requested. Some guy with no profile picture, so kind of iffy on these. I mean, we have some people in the group that don't have profile pictures, and there are a couple of that are okay. We know that they're okay people, but we prefer to see a profile picture because it means that it's not like a fake profile or someone that doesn't really care about Facebook, doesn't log in. And this one's got a ministries group too, so some kind of other Christian group, which is fine. We're interfaith. Uplift is interfaith, but we have had preachers come in to Uplift before and just start to preach to people, against our faith, and that has happened before. And so we just have to probably make sure that he answers the questions. And you notice he doesn't have any questions that show up as being answered here. He says waiting for questions, waiting for response. But right below this, you can see a different person that says, yes. Tracy says yes to being a member of the church. Can you tell us why you want to join? I have a son who's struggling. That's a very good reason to let her in. Are you willing to seek greater faith? Yes. So I would just go ahead and approve her right away. She's solid. There's no reason to question her. And especially if someone has pictures of the temple, you can quickly see through pictures of family. Looks like a family person, or just positive looking pictures. If they're from Utah, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because it could be a antagonistic person that lives in Utah. There's all kinds of things you can look through here. Look at all the groups that they're part of. If you see a bunch of groups that are like atheist groups, you can kind of scan through and see all those. If they just barely joined Facebook, like this person here is 2011. That's a pretty old account. That's 8 years old. This one's, really old, 2009. That's a long time ago. 2006. So these people have been around on Facebook for a long time. They're real accounts. Then you're more likely to be okay to approve them. And so this is kind of a helpful view. You can actually look at their information, so that we know that they're probably okay. But the biggest thing is to make sure that they ask them to answer the questions, because even if sometimes people will see invited by someone, Shaylease Clough. I don't really know Shaylease very well. Maybe someone else does, and you'll see this and say, oh, Shaylease is a good person. We know, she's reliable, and that she would only refer someone that's going to be okay for Uplift, then probably okay to approve it. If you already know this person really well, you trust them. But if you don't, then we probably need to make sure the questions are asked and answered by this Susan Sidaway. So going back to our Uplift scripts, the Google Doc, you come here, and I've got a couple other scripts here. So for someone, so for this situation where someone hasn't answered the questions, and they've been pending for a while, like more than say a day, then what you do is you take these scripts here and you say, for the new member request to the person that's actually requesting, I'd come here and I'd take this and I'd copy this from the page, Control-C, highlight it, and Control-C, and I'd go back into to the Uplift study group admin place. Excuse me. And I would come here to Susan Sidaway, and I would click on this drop down and click message to message her. And I would say to her in the message, I'd say, hello. So you can see the message pops up. Hello, I'm one of the admins for Uplift Study Group. You have a pending application, and we appreciate your interest. In order to admit you into the group, please fill out the new member application here. There's a link that's included. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope to hear back from you soon. Have a wonderful day. And you can add more to this if you want to actually put the person's name at the top. You can, like type paste, hello Susan, to make it more personal. You can do that. Not necessary, but you can use that script and just enter on this message after reviewing it, and this is going to send this person to answer the questions. It's outside of Facebook because we think that when people are invited or referred to Uplift by somebody else, they may not actually see the 3 questions to answer them. It's like a referral, like they say, you can bypass the questions, but we've had people be referred before that aren't a good fit and that cause a lot of problems. And so it's best to actually let the person see this application and actually fill it out so that they know what they're getting into, and they're not going to be surprised when we start to moderate that person and they're not a good fit. So I think I'm ready to send this message to Susan, and I'll go ahead and just hit enter or just click here. And Susan Sidaway now has a message in her inbox. And what I can do, since I'm going to hear back from her, Susan, if she wants to join, she's going to message me back and say, hey, okay, I've filled out the application or whatever. So I'll be notified, with a little, my messenger icon will light up with a number to show me that Susan Sidaway has responded and that she's ready to be admitted into the group. And she's filled out the application. So then I'll look at her application. You can come in here back into Google Drive, and you'll notice here you have this new member Uplift new member application here, and you can click here, double click on it, and it opens up, and you can click on the responses. We don't have any responses yet because this is a new application. I just created it, and you actually you can click on what's called the spreadsheet to see all of the answers, and they're going to actually show here all the answers to this application. So you can look for the person's first and last name, and you'll be able to see in each column of the spreadsheet their application information. So first and last name, exactly as displayed in Facebook, they're going to answer that question. Are you a member of or friendly to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? That's a question. Number one question. Number 2 question is, will you avoid cynicism and seek greater faith by primarily listening and learning? And then this last question, can you tell us why you want to join Uplift? So if you look at these answers and they look okay, and the person seems friendly in Messenger, responds and is nice, then you can approve them. But because we don't want to, we want to not be having someone be sent multiple messages, so Susan Sidaway multiple messages, then we actually want to decline her application so that we don't have her sitting in here. Or actually, so if she replies and says, I want to join, then say, okay, thank you very much. Can you please click this link one more time and apply to the group? Apply one more time to the group. And what you can do to do that, let me show you how to get that link. So if you go to Uplift Study Group, and I just open up a new tab of this same Facebook. And right here, this link right here is the link you send to people to have them join Uplift. It's right here, this full link right here. So I may actually add that into the scripts. So let me add that. Uplift Study Group URL. So that's the URL for people to join Uplift. So you may just send this to that person to say, thanks for sending. So I'll decline Susan Sidaway. I'll decline it, and then once she replies, then I would say, okay, thank you. Can you please, because she's not my friend, I can't add her directly into the group. If she is my friend, then I can just go in and add someone. Like, you can actually come in here and you can just search for a person, one of your friends, and just add them directly into the group by clicking on their name, like searching for them, clicking on that, just adds them in. But if they're not your friend, you can't do that. So you have to have someone that's not your friend actually send them the link, this link for Uplift, send them the link for them to click on it and have them actually apply one more time. And you can make it quick and just say, just click this quickly and I'll approve you. They don't even have to even answer the questions again when it's asked them to answer the questions again. But they don't have to. They just say, click through it and I'll approve you, because you know who they are and you know that they filled out the application here, this application. Okay, so the other thing you can do if you want to also send this person a message, Shaylise Clough, you'd find her. So I just take this, like highlight her name and Control-C on my keyboard, copy her name, and I would come here into the members section, and I would search for, by finding a member, clicking here, finding a member, Shaylease Clough. So there she is. So I don't really know her. I think I've seen a couple comments from her that maybe a little more negative, but that's okay. So I may message her, and I'm not her friend, I don't think. Nope, not a friend. So I'd have to message her and hope that she sees my message too, because when you message someone that's not your friend, I think it goes into like a pending messages area. So I'd message her, but I'd message her by clicking this here, and I would go back to my Uplift scripts section, and this is a new member referral script. So hello, thank you for referring, name of friend being referred to Uplift. So I would type in the name of Susan. Hello, thank you for referring Susan Sidaway. So I'd first copy this here. I'll take it, hello message, and copy it into here. Okay, so you'll see that this message comes up. Hello, thank you for referring, and I would actually remove this because that doesn't look good if you send that. Susan Sidaway. You can, or you can copy it like from here. You can just sit like this and copy it straight from here, like that. To Uplift, your friend Susan Sidaway to Uplift. Can you tell me a little more about your friend? Will Uplift be a good fit? That's a good question to ask, because they may be referring someone that's very negative toward the church, like an atheist. They think, oh well, I'll just try it and see if they like it. That's something we need to know, because if someone comes in thinking that they can, go, all ex-Mormon, like ex-Mormon Reddit style, or like they're like just another type of group, like Mormon Stories podcast community group, where they can be super negative and it's okay, and be cynical, and they just come in here thinking that's the way it goes, they're going to get moderated and then banned, and it's going to be a really uncomfortable situation, and they're going to just have further fuel to their fire when they go back to other groups and say, oh my gosh, the apologists are out in numbers and Uplift, and they're they're ostracizing, and they're so rude and closed-minded, and the story. So they're going to use that experience to get booted to help further fuel their cynicism, their rage against the church, and it's not good. So we want to be careful when we have people referring, just to make sure that they are legitimate, that they are interested in building faith, and they're open. So be a good fit. Please have your friend fill out the new member application by forwarding this link. So you just send her this message, and she would actually forward this link, the new member application link, to Susan for us, because they're already friends, and she would probably see the message from Shaylease faster than Susan would see the message from us. And so then Shaylease would respond back and say, hey, Susan filled it out, FYI. Then we would come back here to the Uplift new member application, and we would see that Susan has filled it out. Susan Sidaway has filled it out, thanks to Shaylease messaging her, and then we can go ahead and approve Susan based on that message from Shaylease that she's a reliable person. So that just helps to know what to do on those applications. So I think that's pretty much everything. It's a good starting point, but you'll get the hang of it as you go through and look at these people and kind of see, who's appropriate to. But really, the questions are answered at the bottom. That's usually and it looks like it's a favorable thing. They're answering it favorably, that they are a member of the church, or they're friendly and they want to join because they want to learn or something like that. We want people who are interested in learning and listening, and not necessarily preaching. We talk about that all the time. We want doubters. They're most important to bring them in and minister to them. But as a second mission of Uplift is to also minister to very orthodox, black and white, very preachy members of the church, to minister to them and help them to soften their tone and not be so aggressive with people who are doubting, and make them feel like they are sinning or evil, ostracizing them, so that the incessant preaching that happens, the zealous preaching that happens sometimes in Uplift. People who are insensitive and not really thinking about how it might feel to be a doubter, those kind of people we have to also vet from the group. So one of the couple questions, couple tips, I guess, too, is if you're asking someone why they want to join Uplift and they're like, I want to join to share the truth and not protect feelings. You know, I'm interested in sharing the truth over protecting feelings. You know, anything that's like that, or tell people to buck up. If they have any of that kind of mentality where I'm a prophet and I'm here to preach the truth, you know, that they're not welcome in Uplift. We don't want people like that. They're going to be banned. I'm going to ban them. I can't stand that attitude. You can tell I get frustrated with people like that. They don't have any kind of sense for their impact that their tough love is having on people, and they're just not welcome. They're welcome to go other places. They don't need Uplift, is what I say. If you say that you want to be Uplift to always uplift others, and you're not there to receive some kind of instruction or help yourself to learn and grow, you know, you're humble and you know that you need to improve, then you don't need Uplift. You can go other places and preach your truth the way you see fit in the most aggressive, you know, strongest words possible. You can go out and do that. Great. You go out and do that. But Uplift is not a place for that kind of lecturing and preaching. It's more for people who want to learn and grow and listen. And if they're willing to do that and to be a little softer and be more sensitive and have empathy and all those things we talk about, then they're welcome to be here and to try to empathize with doubters if they're willing to try and learn. But if they're not, then they need to go elsewhere. So those are a lot of tips. I think this is probably way too long, but hopefully that helps. And you can ask me any questions. Thanks, you guys. You guys are the best. I love you all very much.